Like all major cities, or even smaller towns for that matter, there are some problematic roads. But in Columbia, Missouri, there are really three that stand out as the worst roads to drive on, whether it be for the environment of the road, the condition of the road, or arguably the most annoying part of driving, traffic.
You said there wouldn't be traffic. This is traffic.
Now, to be fair, this video is somewhat tongue-in-cheek because all three of these roads are very integral and important to driving in Columbia and getting to Columbia from other smaller towns around Columbia, etc., etc. However, it is a huge nuisance to drive on these roads, and if you are new to Columbia, you might want to at least know what roads to be watchful for as far as condition of the road, and especially the traffic of the road, and if you should plan ahead and leave earlier for your appointments, just to be more prepared for the traffic in Columbia, Missouri. If you're new to this channel, I'm Noah Cochran, a real estate agent here in Columbia. I'm just on here to talk about Columbia, bring more information about it, sometimes slightly on the humorous side, but more information to folks, just so if y'all are moving here, or you're new here, or you've already lived here, but want to know more about Columbia, these are the videos for you. And again, always feel free to reach out to me if you are looking to move here or need assistance in the real estate market or anything like that. I would love to help. Let's start off with an honorable mention for the worst roads in Columbia. We got my list of three, but I want one honorable mention. And it is arguably the road that I use the most out of these four, honestly. I don't know. I use all these roads a lot. But this one connects right off 63, and it is the Range Line / 763 road. So as you can see, this road runs right off 63. It runs right through I-70, the interstate, and then it goes through Business Loop, another very important road here in Columbia, going through a lot of different business areas and manufacturing store type areas. And then it kind of ends off downtown Columbia. So why is this road an honorable mention? Well, first of all, parts of this road need work, but honestly, it's not that bad. This one is actually more special compared to the rest of the ones on this list. This one is more about two things. One, unfortunately, there has been a lot of homelessness and trash camps around this road. Now, this is partly because there is a large, very kind of poor, downtrodden trailer park area right off this road. Now, the other thing is traffic, but it's not your normal traffic. I've actually noticed, for whatever reason, there is a lot of speed demons on this road. Now, don't get me wrong, we all do some speeding. But when I say speed demons, I mean people that are doing the weave number right through people. Now, the reason this is because the traffic is not as dense as, say, a couple other roads on this list, and thus people can get away with this dangerous weaving. I have had people come crazy close by me on this road, weaving through to get through stoplights, and by stoplights, I mean a light that is clearly red, and they run right through it. Now, this is not a super common thing. I'm just saying this is a road you might want to watch out a little bit as far as trash and crazy speed devils goes. All right, but on to the real list. And again, this list is kind of tongue-in-cheek. I'm making fun of these roads because they are a nuisance to drive on, but it's not a big deal. These are all very important roads. Having said that, I'm now going to ruthlessly hate on all three of these roads. All right, number three. And number three is a strange one because this road is in good condition. It is an incredibly important road. It connects to a whole bunch of nice suburbs, of nice places. It's easily accessible right off 63. It's an exit right off 63. And that is the Grindstone Road. So just looking at the map here, you can take the Grindstone exit, and as you go west, it's Grindstone, which then turns into Nifong, which then turns into Vater School Road, which then runs into Scott Boulevard, which is an extension of Broadway, actually. And east of 63, it is New Haven Road, which eventually runs into Rolling Hills Road and goes into like the old Hawthorne area. Lots of nice suburbs over there. However, I am specifically talking about the Grindstone and Nifong section of this road. Again, I want to say this is a very important road. It connects to a lot of important places and suburbs and subdivisions. However, my goodness, does this road never not have dense traffic? So listen, there are some roads where obviously if you're driving around 7 to 9 o'clock or 4 to 6 o'clock rush hour times, obviously it's going to be a lot of traffic, right? And one of these other roads is more like that. This one I have never driven on Grindstone or Nifong where there has not been dense traffic. This is a double lane road. You got 2 lanes. 4 lanes to be more specific, 2, right? Always filled, both directions. There's always cars filling every lane, and I guess this is good to stop weavers, not that you should be weaving, but you can't weave on this road even if you wanted to because all that you would accomplish is getting ahead of like one car and then you're stuck again. So yeah, this road, very dense traffic. So if you are going to be moving around the Grindstone area, which again is a good place to move. In fact, this is compared to some other places in Columbia, very nice. And actually the farther you go south in some areas in Columbia, it tends to get nicer in general. But again, Grindstone, great area. Great road, condition-wise, but traffic, insane. So this number 3 slot, Grindstone, Nifong, specifically because the traffic is downright insane. All right, coming in hot at number 2 is Providence Road. Now, as you can see on the map, this one starts around the Rangeline area, runs straight parallel with Rangeline, then runs through Business Loop, and then runs through Broadway and then runs through Stadium Boulevard. By the way, Stadium Boulevard is the road that runs along all the major college areas, all of the hospitals, MU areas. Very busy. Really came in close second to Grindstone. I probably could put it with Grindstone, honestly, as far as how dense the traffic is, but I feel like personally Grindstone is worse. People might disagree with me, local Columbians. In general, though, even despite all the college kids on Stadium, Grindstone always dense traffic. Anyway, I digress. Providence runs through Stadium Boulevard, then runs through Grindstone, and then runs all the way south to like Old Plank Road and Route K, which will take you to the big nice subdivisions down there like Thornbrook and the Brooks, things like that. So vastly important road. So you might be asking, Noah, why are you complaining about such a vastly important road to Columbia driving? Well, this road does not only have dense traffic, crazy traffic, it once in a while will have crazy drivers. It unfortunately does have, in several spots, especially around the business loop area, panhandlers, people getting sometimes interfering with traffic. It also runs along schools and colleges and the sororities, which means there's sometimes foot traffic, school buses, all kinds of different traffic depending on where you are at this road. And then different sections of it, especially the part running between Broadway and Business Loop, unfortunately is not in great condition. Now, they have been filling in different sections of it as far as like damages, but like in one spot right off the Business Loop intersection where it intersects Business Loop, big old like crater hole where when you drive over it, your car goes like that. Like it was pretty deep. I think they have filled it in. I believe so. They filled it in. You can still feel it a little bit, but it's not like a crater hit or anything like that. Regardless, again, Providence Road, if you're wanting to get to know Columbia, just drive along Providence and take intersections along all those major roads I listed. But this one, definitely a pain to drive on. Traffic maybe not quite as bad as Grindstone. I mean, it's honestly pretty close, but it has some other smaller issues. Again, these roads are very important. I'm kind of hating on them for fun, but if you are moving to Columbia, just keep in mind, if you're driving on Providence, if you have a long way to go on Providence or you're coming along Grindstone, keep in mind that you're probably going to be facing a good amount of traffic pretty much no matter the time, especially on Grindstone, but really for Providence too. And coming in at number 1, the most painful road to drive on in Columbia. I honestly hate driving on this road more than any other road. It's honestly not close. I mean, these other ones are a pain, but it's like, I mean, you get it, right? Providence is half downtown anyway. Grindstone, lots of suburbs. It's a pain, but you get it. Traffic, right? Well, this road, my friends, is way worse than that. And the main reason it is because most of this road is one lane, or two-lane road, I guess you could say. One going this way, one going that way. Which means every single time someone needs to take a left turn, or right turn too, but especially a left turn, it backs up traffic for a mile, which means half the time, especially if it's busy traffic, like if you're driving rush hour on this road, it's gonna be crazy. And that road is Route B, also known as Paris Road, though Paris Road, like where it's called Paris Road, is actually better because it's 2 lanes, at least for the most part. But once it turns into Route B, you, my friends, are cooked. So just looking at the map real quick again here, Route B is a very important road to Columbia, but for a completely different reason than the other roads mentioned in this video. And that is because Route B connects Columbia to the major growing area of Hawesville, and then as you go further down, you will get to Centralia, and also a very popular place to live outside of Columbia. It's more of a small, cozier city, got a lot of lampposts running along roads and things. A lot of people like Centralia, and again, as I said, Hawesville is booming. I actually live in Hawesville right outside of Columbia. Hawesville is a great place to live, and Route B connects all the traffic, all the people coming to work in Columbia from Hawesville and Centralia. Everybody's coming on Route B. I'm telling you, this road never doesn't have a lot of traffic. Okay, that might be a bit of exaggeration. There is once in a while during midday where you can kind of, drive relatively at a good pace, we'll just say that, on Route B. But for the most part, it is very hard to do so. And yes, there are places where you can pass the slow people or whatever it may be, but there are not very many places, and it's often very difficult because there's usually one person backing up a lot of people when you obviously can't deal with that. And as I said, when somebody left turns, you're stuck in a backs up traffic for miles. So Route B, huge pain. In addition to that, unfortunately, Route B, kind of right after it converts from Paris Road to Route B, after you cross 63, it unfortunately is not in great condition. In fact, you kind of see people driving across the median line in the middle a little bit where there's the left turn lane, but you'll see people driving over that yellow line because if you drive actually in the lane itself, there's like a lot of bumps and ruts and things on that road, especially between where Route B becomes 1 lane and where it's 2 lanes. So actually the 2-lane area of Route B, obviously it's 2 lane, which is great, but very in rough condition for some reason. And then Route B itself, the main part of Route B where it's 1 lane, also not in great condition. Lots of rougher spots. I did see them out there fixing some spots the other day, so I'm sure it's getting better. But again, rough spots, lots of traffic, and worst of all, 1-lane traffic. You can't change it. You can't deal with it. It backs up for miles. At least Grindstone somewhat keeps moving, right? Even though you can't really, like you get stuck. Like if there's people slow up ahead, everybody's slow behind. You can't deal with it. There's no passing on Grindstone. but at least on Grindstone in general, you just keep moving. Route B sometimes is just slow, gets backed up because a lot of people are trying to left turn, and there's a lot of oncoming traffic stopping them from left turning, all kinds of things like that. I am sick and tired of driving on Route B. Now, I'll say one more time, Route B, very important. There's a ton of people that work in Columbia, coming from Centralia, from Hawesville, so very important road, obviously. I've used this road a ton. It connects to where I live and 124 running between 63 and Route B. But that does not mean I'm not going to complain about it, and especially warn you, if you are new to Columbia in any capacity, this road is a pain to drive on. If you are driving during anywhere close to rush hour, within like 2 or 3 hours of rush hour, mind your time, because you will not get through as fast as you think you're going to get through. It's literally that simple. And if you are driving around rush hour, maybe 7:30 in the morning or around 5 o'clock in the evening, I would plan several minutes ahead if you have deadlines to meet, because this road is going to be a pain to travel on because everyone's going to be turning and it's going to be backed up for quite a ways. All right, so that was me ranting about some roads that are a pain to drive on in Columbia. Again, these roads are all very important. Obviously, some of these roads I even like driving on. There's some sights to see on some of these roads, but they are definitely a pain to drive on. If you live in Columbia and have your own thoughts on what roads are worse, I could see arguments made for a couple of the roads I did not mention on this list, especially Stadium Boulevard, but even things like Broadway. Regardless, if you disagree with me or if I missed any roads that you think are real pain, even smaller niche roads like downtown or whatever it might be, leave them in the comments. I would love to hear Columbians' thoughts on the roads in Columbia and the conditions of said roads. But again, if you are new to Columbia, I hope this video was at least a little informative to you in your research about Columbia, if nothing else. And again, always feel free to reach out to me. I would love to help in any way that I can or provide more information in your Columbia research. But folks, until next time, y'all have a good one and stay safe on those roads.